You're listening to the Pittsburgh Piledriver.
What the hell is that?
Podcast.
Oh, dearie heavens, dearie me, dearie my. It's that time once again, you nerds and nerdettes and birds and birdettes? Cats? Oh, hi! So listen, it's the Pittsburgh Piledriver Podcast, and we've got a lot of wrestling talk to talk about. Lots of stuff has happened in the wrestling world. I had to adjust my microphone because it almost fell out of my ear hole. Not information that pertains to you, but I just figured I'd rope you in on what's going on in my world. Ransom the Madman here. I am your current Cruiserweight champ, and I'm going to rub that in as much as I can because come the end of this month, I'm going to kiss that title bye-bye because my confidence level and my ability to pick the Royal Rumble is supremely low, not to mention the fact that I'm also buried in the stats when it comes to the Cruiserweight Championship. So goodbye, title. No more for me. Beef the Legend is here, a likely winner of the Cruiserweight Championship. Poot the Bard is here, another likely winner, as well as Tiger Bomb Tom, who I believe is miring in the yuck with me down in the lower to middle mid cards of the Cruiserweight Championship. But fear not, if anyone can come back from a detriment during Royal Rumble season, it's Tiger Bomb Tom. Not me, but it's him. So I have confidence. I have confidence that someone within the Pittsburgh Piledriver Podcast is going to pick up my slack and carry that title into the future because none of you nubs are going to get it. That's right, I said it. I'm not scared. None of you nubs are going to get it. Before we get into the crux of this episode, I would like, in this introduction, to have a moment of silence for the dearly departed Walter. That's right, Walter is gone. Gunther is in. I'm so excited that I'm about to fall asleep. I know there's a lot of stuff to get into, but boys, I want to get your initial thoughts on this. WWE tried to patent or trademark, the name Gunther Stark, which I do believe was a Nazi U-boat commander.
Before we start, I want to make a correction. You didn't get my name right. Use my actual name.
What,
It's
Borf
Stalin.
the Lorgend?
Joseph Stalin now, gentlemen.
Gotcha, I apologize. I was made aware of that name change earlier. However, in my excitement for the introduction, I did forget about it. So
Wait. My legal team just got back to me. I can't use the name Joseph Stalin, so just call me Joseph.
Okay.
Wait. No. My common sense team is calling me. That's a bad fucking idea.
Oh, so wait a minute. Hold on. I have to ask this in all seriousness now. Did someone on your legal team learn to use a Google machine?
Well,
Did they do a simple Google search before filing a trademark on a name?
Seeing as I don't have a legal team, no. But hey, look at me. I did it, and I was like, oh, this is a bad idea.
What the hell did I... Wait. You say you don't have a legal team. What the hell did I go to 4 years of legal bard school for then?
We won't talk about that right now.
Oh, well, fuck.
Well,
I wasted all that money.
know,
You owe me money.
You owe
me money!
You are legally my bard, so it's fine. Listen, all right, this is going to be short and sweet because okay. So here it is. I am washing my hands of NXT. I will not bring up any NXT contracts. I will not bring up any NXT results. I will not bring up any NXT picks. As far as I'm concerned, NXT picks are off the radar. NXT 2.0 is the real rest in peace here because I've lived through a lot with this stupid brand change. All right, I've sat back.
Are you trying to tell me that it's not been a renowned success?
I've folded my arms, and I've painted my eyebrows, but I have, by God, I've sat here and I've tried to be here for it, and understand that maybe they're trying to do things for the future. This is like right up there if they would have changed Samoa Joe's name to Joey Samoa. You remember all those things? You know, Joey, what the hell is Joey Samoa
doing in the Impact Zone?
Like, this is right up there with changes. This is fucking Walter.
What is Daniel doing in the Impact Zone? Oh, God.
This is a guy whose name preceded him, whose reputation preceded him. And you are saying, well, you know what? Just because we can't trademark the name, which is a stupid fucking reason to do anything, first of all. But I get it. Business.
Business.
But for fuck's sake, man.
Business.
First, you try to name him after a Nazi. And then someone's like, oh, by the way, that's a Nazi name, and Walter is a European guy. So, just saying,
he's an Austrian guy.
Yeah, which is in Europe, right?
Well, yes. Okay, yes, but still, it's more on the nose.
I understand. When you're drinking Cristal, you say you're drinking Cristal. I get it. I understand that. My point here is being mired is that it was a dumb choice to. And they had him come out with the pomp and circumstance, and on the big screen it says Walter. Behind him, the name Walter. They changed his name after the fucking match, not before. Not when they this is no longer Walter, it's Gunther now. No, he was Walter coming in and Gunther leaving.
Okay. No, I get it. It's stupid, but it's them. Listen, we could let beef just keep going for the rest of this, but I'm going to tell you this: I'm not going to be Switzerland on this as I normally am. I'm not going.
Oh dear Lord!
I'm not going to be the power of positivity here. This is one of those things that I went. This is simply tone deaf NXT rebranding, and the problem is that this is like. This is like if you renamed the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels to the Heart Shatterer Michael Hickenbotham. Like, it's just not. It's one of those things that it's like it's in the ballpark, but it's stupid as fuck. And like
that example hurt so much it took my breath away a little.
You're welcome. Yeah. It's one of those things that I think. They are incredibly tone deaf. Yet another example of WWE and their creative being incredibly tone deaf. And someone like Walter, who's getting paid probably, comparatively. And I use this term like in comparatively, sideways ain't money. And he's in on it and he'll make it work because if you notice, anytime that a really good worker and a really good talent is given something stupid as fuck, they make it work. And they push with it and they go with it because they are a good worker. Walter, when he got signed to NXT, I literally painted my walls white. I was so hyped that Walter was part of this. I know, gross, ew. But
listen, you're here for it. Don't lie.
Listen,
no.
The rest, this is one of those things that because they're doing NXT 2.0 and they are trying to wash away everything from previous NXT, they renamed him Gunther, and they're going to do this Gunther Stark thing, and they did all this stuff and they did all this tone deaf bullshit that WWE does because there was some dickhead backstage who Googled famous German names and they came up with Gunther Stark and they were like, oh, Tony Stark, people like the name Stark. Like, that's what happened. I guarantee you. It was just a bunch of.
His name was Vince McMahon, by the way.
It was. I don't care, even if it's him. But that's the thing. It's just tone deaf, insane nonsense. When all you have to do, and literally, Walter's packaging, it is a white background with the words Walter, and you have him go out there and chop the soul out of everyone, and it sells itself, and he works really well with small guys, with big guys, with anyone. He can work and he can make a match entertaining and enjoyable. All you have to do is just leave it the fuck alone. It's a person who can't quit fiddling with a meal that they're cooking and they fuck it up because they keep stirring the stew when they don't need to stir the goddamn stew. Like,
Let's
if
not
you
forget,
just,
by the way,
I'm not done on my rant.
Oh.
This is a vendetta right now for me, because if you have filet mignon and it's cooked perfectly to a beautiful medium rare, and you have the sides are perfect and everything, you don't have the waiter come out and sneeze on it. You just fucking leave it alone. That's it. Leave it alone and make all the money in the universe. But WWE can't fucking do that. Vince McMahon can't fucking do that. We got to rebrand. We got to have everything be neon and splattered and jizz all over the place. Fuck you. Just leave. Listen, you can fuck with everyone else. I don't even care. Ciampa, even Ciampa. Fuck with Ciampa all you want. You don't fuck with Walter. I'm done.
See, here's the thing, though.
Poot is so angry. The angrier he got, the quieter and more reserved he get. And ladies and gentlemen, that is a Poot the Bard that should be feared.
I fear no man. I don't. I have a suspicion that this is not so much an NXT 2.0 rebranding. I don't really know what it is. Like, I don't think it's that, but I can't for the life of me come up with a reason.
It's copyright.
It would have to be.
Because the dude owns the name Walter and all of his what have you. And so...
So he owns the IP of Walter.
Right. And so I don't know how all that works, but basically, in order for Vince to make all the money off of Walter and not just some of the money, because, here's the thing, man. He is the longest reigning. Walter, not Gunther. Walter is the longest reigning WWE UK champion. By changing his name, whether it's in perpetuity in NXT or moving to the main roster, I don't give a fuck. When you change his name, you're basically pissing on that WWE UK title, which... understandably, they've kind of done over the last 2 years anyway. But my God.
I don't think Vince gives a shit about it or its legacy.
Nope.
Just like he doesn't give a shit about NXT or its legacy. He wants to erase the legacy of what NXT was and completely start over with what NXT is going to be now under his vision, under his umbrella. So let's not split hairs here. He could give two shits about the NXT UK title, and just like he could give two shits about the legacy and the history of NXT and the NXT title. I can't wait. I told you it was going to happen with The Fiend. Nobody listened, but I told you it was going to happen. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen now. I don't know if you're going to listen or believe me, but shut up.
No.
But here's what's going to happen. Guaranteed, within 2022, you will see a big, dumb, stupid, tie-dye looking NXT championship belt. Because that'll be the last thing to go. The last thing that they redo will be that belt. And it will be the brightest, most color-splashed, ugliest piece of shit you have ever seen. I guarantee it. I'm telling you, we don't get through 2022 without a big, stupid, colorful NXT belt. Not a chance.
Tom?
I don't know. I'm just morally just done and crushed, and nothing should surprise me, but it's just the stupidity of fucking WWE in general. Like, just when I think they can't do anything dumber, they go, here, hold my beer. So
after the Fiend debacle, I put nothing past them anymore.
I think Lance Storm said it best with his tweet whenever he said, he's like, this really shouldn't come as a surprise to you guys. I was the guy that Vince McMahon viewed as the party guy or whatever. I'm like,
Oh,
yeah, he's got a point. Yeah,
that was a
like,
polar opposite of everything that Lance Storm was.
exactly.
The
And so,
polar opposite.
and so the fact that they're this tone deaf to not Google something, because they did something similar to this. God, okay. Whenever the whole women's revolution happened, and they had who was it? Becky, Paige, and somebody else in a little 3-person stable. They were gonna call, I can't remember what their original name is, but then they found out it was a link to it was the same name as some sort of porn group or porn page or something like that. I'm like,
Oh,
Yes!
yeah.
yeah.
Nobody Googled it. Nobody
Googled it. I wish I could remember what it
Come
was
on.
now. But then they had to call him PCB. It was Paige, Becky, and wasn't it Charlotte?
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah,
just
it's the three of
Wasn't
them.
it supposed
Yeah.
to be? Was it the submission?
Yes, the Submission Society.
Yeah,
Yes.
That's what it
sorority.
was.
The
Oh my God.
submission sorority. That's
Yeah,
what it was.
submission-
They might as well have just called them, hey, everybody, this new stable's called Pornhub.
Yes. Dude.
Well,
See,
you can't find that on Pornhub. You got to go to Xhamp. I had nothing. Never mind.
You're not
Look,
looking
they're,
hard enough.
they're freaking, they're managed by Sonny now.
The Walter, so the
I know
Walter
you
thing,
want me.
I got
It's a
to bring
callback.
it back on track here, boys.
you want me.
We don't all have to sing it.
Yes,
The
we do.
Walter thing really hurts for me because, this is like taking a cherished gift that someone has given you, like a good friend, a best friend has given you, and then pissing all over it and saying it doesn't matter because it's a stupid gift. Because the one and
Or like
only
a son-in-law has given you.
yeah, that too. Though that's a fucking yeah, man.
Like
But
what you-
specifically, the one and only Poot the Bard was the one who introduced me to Walter. He's like, man, you got to go out and watch videos of Walter, man.
Yeah.
You are gonna lose your shit.
Yep.
And I said, okay, because we do this thing where I'll find somebody awesome, and I'm like, Poot, you got to watch, videos of this.
He
and
did
this.
that. He did that
And-
for me with Penta El Cero Miedo.
Yep.
He was like, dude,
And,
you're gonna love Penta, and then all of a sudden I was walking around going Cero Miedo.
Even back in the day, whenever we used to watch PWG back at the gas station,
Oh
with,
yeah,
like,
dude.
fucking Punk and Joe and,
And,
Super Dragon
Brian
and
Danielson
Excalibur,
and
Danielson, the Bucks,
El
yeah, man.
Generico. Yeah.
Yep. Steen. So it's a history thing. So yeah, so Poot messaged me, and it was it was probably about 6 months or so before his signing with WWE NXT UK, but or NXT, I guess I should say. But he said, dude, you gotta find him, and I did, and I was like, holy fuck, this guy is amazing. And then he signed with NXT. I'm like, oh man, this is great. One of the wrestlers I've seen lately with the best wrestlers in the world right now, and then fucking 3 years later, and everything's on its head, and I have a headache like I'm having an aneurysm. Vince McMahon, why you do?
Yeah, just the worst. Just the absolute Fred Durst.
I mean, and this is the problem, and this is something, pulling back the curtain a little bit, into our own lives. Like the other night, Beef and I were gaming with our buddies, and on the nights that we record the podcast, a bunch of our buddies will watch a movie together, like group watch a movie online. You know what I mean? Like stream the movie, and we all sit there and watch it. And we can't partake because we're recording the podcast, because we love recording the podcast. And it got to the point where they were like, well, if you don't record the podcast, like if you take a week off or whatever, pop in, watch the movie, et cetera, or whatever. But it was also the thing that's like, if it wasn't, we came to this conclusion collectively, Beef. I think we can say this. If it wasn't for AEW, it's just fucking, I don't know what we would talk about. All we would do is complain about Vince McMahon being an old controlling fuck.
We'd just be a bunch of old guys sitting on the porch yelling at clouds.
Seriously, and it's a joke, but it's super true. Like WWE, anyone I talk to, when I tell them about the podcast or I tell them I'm a wrestling fan, they always bring up the Attitude Era, or they talk about when they were young and Hulk Hogan and the Warrior and Bret Hart and all that stuff were on, and they remembered it. And I always tell them, if you ever want to get back into it, do not watch WWE, watch AEW. I always tell them, go watch AEW. You will be entertained, and you will have fun. You might not know all the people, but you will enjoy it. If you watch WWE, you will not know any of the people, and you will sit there and go, this is dumb as fuck.
Well, it's the difference of like going to a fucking like Longhorn Steakhouse versus going to like, Burger King. Like going to Burger King is great and all until you shit your pants on the way home. Going, oh my god, what's happening? Like, why?
Don't
Why
forget about
has the
those.
Lord-
Do you remember the loaded
Why does the Lord
steakhouse
let me-
burgers? Those were hangover food, but
Yes.
you went and shit your pants. You're
Yep.
right.
Like you literally start reading out of Revelations because you're like, man, I must have done something to piss Jesus off today. That this is coming out lava. I mean, that's literally the difference between AEW and WWE right now. And I know I'm not dumb. I understand that we're smarks. I get it. I understand that the AEW is like written for people like us. For now, I will say this: when they made the switch to TBS, the third episode this week, again, like over 1 million viewers. So they're making some moves. I'm telling you, like they have a big bat of growth right now, and we're saying that Raw controls the ratings right now. But you give it a couple years, you give it 2, 3, 4 years, and that it's going to be a lot closer than I think a lot of people think.
Well, and again, remembering that AEW is 3 years old.
Yeah, the fact that they're still in their infancy compared to WWE, a force in sports entertainment for over 50 years.
For over 9
that-
million years.
Yeah,
And that was their slogan 20 years ago. So it's got to be close to 70 years now.
It speaks volumes, in the fact of looking and seeing, how amazing AEW has come. Because there's been other wrestling promotions like that, weren't around in the 80s and stuff like that made their way into the scene and stuff, but they've never been on par with WWE. Like Impact would be the next. I would consider them the next tier down.
Yeah,
Well, hold on.
In recent memory, yes.
Yeah, in recent memory, I'm not AEW excluded because they're up there. I put them on the upper echelon with WWE at the moment. As far as reach, production, and things like that. Okay, I'm not talking about the quality of content, because we obviously know where we all stand with that. But as in regards to like production and just overall like eyes on the product, you have WWE and AEW, you have Impact. Impact is the next step down. Then like below there was like Ring of Honor because, whatever. But the fact, like I said, that AEW is having those eyes on and doing the numbers that they're doing and stuff like that in their infancy, only being 3 years old, that speaks volumes. Now, I know that, a lot of the ways that people could take in all the product and stuff like that weren't available back in the day. You didn't have YouTube back in the 80s. So yeah, WWE has come a long way and they've done a lot of stuff, from their infancy to now. Like, don't get me wrong, credit where credit's due, but the fact that they're just their own worst enemy, I don't understand why they do the things that they do. I really don't. It boggles my mind as a company that has been around. As a company that's been around for as long as it has, I don't understand why they can't get out of their own way. Because I mean, Vince is a great businessman. We've said that before. Like with all the stuff and all the changes made to NXT from a business standpoint, fantastic moves for him. I get it. As a fan, I hate it, but I get why he's doing what he's doing. However, let's not forget that back in the day, whenever it was the whole Monday Night Wars and Ted Turner called up Vince and said, "Hey, Vince, I'm in the wrestling business." And Vince said, "Well, I'm in the sports entertainment business, so we're in two different businesses." Vince had the foresight to look ahead and see where things were going. Like, he was the one.
He was still sharp back then.
Exactly. That's what I'm getting at. The fact that he was able to do that now, I don't know if it's literally just an age thing, it's a complacency thing, a combination of both. not having the right people around him, a combination of all these things. Whatever it is, WWE is going to get the fuck out of their own way, because they are literally their own worst enemy right now.
Well, here's
They
another
won't.
great example. Here's another great example, kind of parlaying this a little bit. WWE put out like something to their sponsors or whatever, like a notice saying, we at WWE don't condone this kind of brutal violence that takes place on Dynamite, because Dynamite has some really great but sometimes very bloody matches.
Yeah.
And it happens. Like, that's just a way of things, which is fine. But they put out a thing that says we don't condone that, we don't do that, blah blah blah. Fucking 2 years removed from having
It's out.
Rey Mysterio. Well, even before the fucking Rey Mysterio getting his eye,
That wasn't even
gouged
2
out by
years
Seth
ago.
Rollins.
That was within the last year.
Yeah. Well, no, it was because that was during like the height of the pandemic. So that may have been anyway. Regardless of timing, like Seth Rollins stomping on Rey Mysterio's face on the steel corner of the steps, and them leading us to believe that he lost his eye. Like, we don't condone that to, a fucking year later. It's just, Vince is a spin doctor, man. That's what he does. And that's, the Gunther thing is another way, like I said, to screw the talent out of money, so that they can't get famous with their name, leave that name, and have, the quote-unquote WWE machine behind it. And I'm sure seeing guys like Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, all who received tremendous pushes in NXT, Jet and use those exact same names on AEW, probably didn't help this decision, I'm guessing.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. If you look at any of the successful people that went from WWE and then over to AEW and became even more successful or had a debut that was such a big deal, of course Vince McMahon is going to look at that and go, nope, no, I don't want that to happen again. I don't want that. They're not competition, but still, I don't want that to happen again, which is where my suspicion lies when it comes to Mustafa Ali requesting his WWE release and WWE saying, no, thank you. You still have 2 years left on your contract? You're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they want him going to somewhere like AEW and being a big stinking deal, which I'm sure he would. Given the fact that how talented he is, he could go there and make a gigantic debut and really just hit the ground running and take off like a rocket ship, which would just be another missed opportunity for WWE, for people to go, oh, look at this guy who did boo-hoo here. He shows up here, and look at the tremendous promos he's giving. Look at the great matches he's in. WWE doesn't want that.
That's kind of the thing with Walter, is that, like, when he went to WWE, in my opinion, that was kind of a shocker, like, because he just carries weight with his name. Not even just like his in-ring ability, not just his presence, not just his ability to chop someone so hard they turn into a black hole and destroy the universe, but like it's the fact that, like, people respect him. He is respected in the industry, like he is. I'm sure it had to do with exactly what Beef said. Vince McMahon is a spin doctor, so I'm sure they went to Walter and pitched him to the moon and back about what they could do with him. And then once they realized, oh, this could actually work out, well, we got to get rid of that name then. Like, we have to own the IP of this, so we're going to change his name.
Talking about Ali, like, let's not forget that WWE has a big fat fucking deal with Saudi Arabia. Like, they're trying to branch out into the Middle East as like a source of revenue. And I know that Mustafa Ali is from Chicago. I understand that, but he is obviously of Middle Eastern descent, and I mean, you can play to that. I'm not saying he has to come out in a fucking, turban and a sari. No,
Yeah,
like,
you are. No, I'm joking.
no, I'm not. I'm not at all. Like, he can be him, but like with the name Mustafa Ali, it can, they can fucking make up a past that he had, a lineage. But like, so I
Yep,
give.
they'll trot out the old Jewish man Goldberg in Saudi Arabia.
Yep. I give Mike Tomlin a lot of fucking flack, deservedly so, I feel. But he had a line this year that absolutely stuck with me. We want volunteers, not hostages. In reference to a guy who won the trade.
I have umbrage with that. I'm sorry. I think that is total bullshit. You're gonna give in in Tomlin's sense. You're gonna give in anytime somebody's unhappy and cry and boo-hoos a little bit. No, you're under fucking contract. You're paid. Fucking do your job.
It's the
We're
same
not really talking about
situation.
football.
But it's the exact same
Ransom,
situation.
let's go do our
A
own
dude-
podcast.
Hold on, hear me out. A dude was signed before the season, didn't get the snaps he wanted, wasn't getting playing time, so he got pissed off and drug his feet, and he requested a trade, and he got it. Same shit. Like, Mustafa Ali signed a WWE contract thinking to maybe get a shot. He hasn't really gotten those shots. So now, as opposed to riding the pine, he's saying, you know what, let me go out and do something for somebody else. It's either okay or it's not. And I don't think it's okay. If somebody doesn't want to be there, cut them loose, man. Like, this isn't fucking the X-Men collector cards. This isn't fucking Pokemon. Like, you don't need to have all these people on lock and on these big fucking contracts, set them on the sideline just to do nothing with them.
Okay, fair point, but then you also run into a situation where we can draw the same comparison. What happened to the Steelers this year whenever TJ Watt was hurt and they fucking needed defensive players? Oh, guess what? We didn't have Melvin Ingram because we fucking traded him away because he cried and boo-hooed.
Which
so what's
is why
gonna
the WWE is bringing in Mickey James, the Impact Women's Champion, for Royal Rumble because they don't have bodies to fill. That's what happens. You're 100% right, and that's I mean we're on the same level here, Tom.
Yeah.
That's happens. You're like if you let people go, which I think you should, you are leaving yourself susceptible to having an issue down the road.
I just think, honestly, whether it's, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, we sit here and as a fan, I would love to see Mustafa Ali go somewhere else. Whenever Brody Lee, rest his soul, was, asking for his release and stuff like that. As a fan, I wanted to see him go somewhere and do something with him because I saw the talent level in him and I wanted more for him that WWE wasn't given to him. But as somebody, just me personally, you sign a contract, you make a deal, you honor that commitment. And that needs to be on both sides of the table, both performer or athlete or whatever, player, and the organization or company or whoever that signed you. It needs to be
that these wrestlers aren't employees, though.
I know.
They're independent contracts.
And trust me, and that circles right back to around the a problem that we've discussed before. That's something that needs to change as well. But until it does, people, all these performers, all these wrestlers need to really take a long, hard look and say, okay, where am I going to fit in? What are the chances? And reach out and talk to people and do something where if you are gonna fucking make a deal with the devil himself, you need to have something in plan, like protect yourself as much as you can. Like, as far as I think whenever we talked about, like, whenever WWE was not allowing, any of their people to do like Twitch and third party things to earn extra revenue and stuff like that. Okay, if that's something that's important to you and you already have a built-in brand for yourself or whatever, and that's, some earning potential for you, then you need to build it into your contract, whether that means you take a little bit less off the top or whatever, like a little bit less money overall, but that you still have that creative freedom and that creative control over this aspect of your life, and WWE can't touch it, then you need to do that. But again, it comes down to a matter of, you got to do your homework and you got to really take a long, hard look and say, is this where I want to be? Now,
I'm sorry, Tom. I don't buy that because I think that everybody should be on a level playing field, and Vince and co. have no problem doing these athletes dirty and releasing them whenever they see fit, whether they're sick, whether they are in rehab, whatever the case may be, they'll cut them loose with zero problem. And therefore, I think it's fair that the wrestlers can then say, you know what, fuck you, WWE. I know I signed an agreement, but fuck you, I'm out. Like, let me out, let me out, let me out. Like, you can't. Yes, in a perfect world, we were all raised right that loyalty should be next to none. But unfortunately, this ain't a perfect world, and businesses, and in this case, WWE, has a step up on employees. So I have no problem with employees having no loyalty whatsoever. Loyalty is earned, not expected.
Okay, so here's the thing. I disagree with the statement of everybody should be on an equal playing field. That's just not how life works. So I can't jump upon that bandwagon because in no aspect of life is that A, guaranteed, or B, should be expected from anybody. Everybody is different. Every aspect of everybody's life can be different. So the equal playing field thing, I don't buy into that. However, at this stage in the game, everybody should know by this point how WWE operates. They do what is best for WWE. If you can contribute something to that, and they see that, and they can capitalize on that, you will get a lot of TV time, and you will make a lot of money. But for some reason, if WWE signs you and then doesn't see it, well, too bad, sunshine. You're under contract, and the only way to get out of that is to request a release or ride it out. Now, I'm not saying that that's right. I'm saying that at this point, everyone who signs with WWE should know that. Because it's not like it just came out within the last couple of years, like, oh, WWE has these bullshit contracts where they can release talent at whatever whim they want, but talent just can't up and leave. Like, that's not something that's new. Everybody should know that. And going into it, I feel like these performers should know, and again, I'm sure it's written in that contract. Like, you sign this, you're ours for this amount of time until your A, contract expires, B, we let you go, or C, we don't see any more value in you and we cut you loose. Is that ethical? Probably not. But it's not outside the realm of legality, and it's a double-edged sword because I'm sure whoever's signing these contracts is feeding these young wrestlers a bill of goods. Like, I'm sure they're feeding them, we're going to make you a star. You're going to be on TV all the time. You're going to have opportunities to get the United States title, the Intercontinental title, the Universal title. Like, the world is your oyster, the brass ring. All you have to do is reach out and grab it. And if you can grab that ring, the world is yours. You'll be a star. I'm sure they sell them on all that. But at the end of the day, it's on each and everybody's own individual responsibility to look at that and go, okay, here it is in black and white in front of me. If it's not skewed enough to my side, I'm going to choose not to sign it, or I'm going to try to renegotiate this. If it's too skewed to their side and I'm uncomfortable with this, I can't sign it. Like, I can't do it. But I feel like Mustafa Ali is doing the right thing by requesting his release. If he doesn't think that he's being utilized appropriately, I think requesting your release is the appropriate thing to do. I think the old adage of taking your ball and going home because you're in protest, that's the wrong thing to do. So if he's going to request his release and they say no, and he does what they want him to do for the remainder of his contract and goes elsewhere, That's WWE's loss. Sucks to be them. You should have utilized this guy because he's, again, gold.
I agree, and I'm sure that my like thought process and everything has a lot more to do with like my own like world weariness versus like my actual feelings towards these organizations. Bit of truth, and I think all of it. But regardless, I think it's a bullshit move that they're not releasing Ali. Whenever they've had plenty of time to give him something of sort.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Given at best have given him retribution at best.
Now, if I can understand them not wanting to release him if they had a big golden plan for him. Like, no, we've got something for you. It's just going to take a hot minute, but we're gonna really utilize you.
Now, I know we're going
to do that.
I know I've been off the conversation here, but as far as that thing of saying, hey, we've got something for you, just wait. They've had, let me check my watch. Oh, ad infinitum for pulling the trigger on Ali. Every time, it's kind of what I would like to coin as Dolph Ziggler syndrome.
Yeah.
He's hot. People like him. Pull the trigger. They don't pull the trigger. And then if he gets any kind of little push, no, don't pull the trigger on him. Just kind of, no, don't pull the trigger on him. No, don't pull the trigger on him. Like that.
Now it's too late for Ziggler.
No, and that's the thing is it's too late for Ziggler too. But Ziggler, by the way, he's making bank with those motherfuckers.
And some people, Kevin Owens resigned. Sami Zayn resigned. Like, you know what? Like, in the position that I'm in right now, if somebody signed a multi-million-dollar contract under my nose, knowing that I wouldn't get to do what I want or be utilized to my fullest, but you know what? I'd probably take that goal, that deal too. So I'm not going to fault them for that.
No.
It disappoints me as someone who enjoys seeing their work.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, they got to do what they got to do, and I get it.
Right.
But I just like, man, there's, and I read a report that before Ollie requested his release, apparently Vince McMahon went to him, or he like, I think the story went that the Vince McMahon went to him with the pitch, and he was like, no, I'm not doing that. We're not doing that at all. So. You know how the mind of Vince McMahon works.
I can only imagine what that was.
Yep. You can imagine. You can only imagine how that man thinks now. It's very binary. Like it's just very base and very binary. There's no gray area. Like I'm sure it was some sort of like old imperialistic view of like Iranians like fucking Iron Sheik, you know, like, you know, put him in the fucking like little pointed shoes.
We're gonna turn you into a genie.
Right. I can't say that for sure. But like I feel like it was probably along those lines, and it's like, Vince, it's not 1970s anymore. Like we're not doing that.
It shouldn't surprise you because hell, we talked about it before. His last ditch effort to Adam Cole before Adam Cole left was, hey, we're going to cut your hair and make you a manager for Keith Lee.
And change your name.
Yeah.
Yep. What were they going to change his name to?
Who knows?
Probably. But even if they weren't, we're going to cut your hair and we're going to make you a manager. Can you imagine at this stage in his life, at this stage in his game, Adam Cole comes out with a short haircut and he doesn't wrestle. He's just a manager. I can't imagine that. I really can't. I mean, that's essentially like saying Stone Cold Steve Austin, we're not going to have you drink beer anymore and give middle fingers. You're going to come out in a suit and you're going to be a manager for The Rock. Like, what? Huh? I don't understand where some of these plans are coming from. And I can only fathom it's an old man's deteriorating mind.
And I think it's time that we admit, like, everybody talks about Vince McMahon being this fucking genius and whatever. I think it's time we admit that some of Vince McMahon's biggest hits have absolutely been either A, by accident, or B, stolen from somewhere else. Stone Cold
yeah.
was the Sandman, like 100%. A guy who drinks beer and kicks ass. All that was missing was the Singapore Cane. The Nexus was the NWO. Like, let's not mince words here. You know, and I mean, like, I get that that's wrestling through the ages. I just read an article this week that like Lex Luger was supposed to be like literally Hulk Hogan reincarnate with the Lex Express thing. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Without,
Yeah.
with you know, with it,
Well,
the
no,
red
that
and
was-
yellow was substituted for the red, white, and blue.
Well, not even the red, white, and blue, but like I remember because it was literally they were like, well, we need someone to take his shoes, and so they took the narcissist and just went, okay, you're going to be an all-American big badass now.
Yep.
Like that was it. Like it was that
Not
simple.
good.
Like, look at the haircut, like the medium blonde hair. Look at the body build. It was all the same, man. So yeah, and like things like I think things like Daniel Bryan and CM Punk got over despite Vince McMahon. Chris Jericho,
Oh,
they got
yes.
over despite Vince McMahon. Guys like Triple H, Kurt Angle had a mind for what they needed and wanted to do, and had more control than any of these guys do. It's just it's unfathomable. So here we have at best a guy who stole some ideas, now has nothing to steal them from, and is left to his own devices, and that's why we are where we are.
So speaking of that, can you imagine how the terrain would be different? I read an article, and again, it's internet, it's articles, who knows the truth, or, whatever. But if there is truth in this, I read an article recently that said something along the lines of Triple H wanted to offer a giant money contract to get the Elite before the formation of AEW. Like before AEW was going to be a thing, Triple H wanted to bring the Elite in to NXT. Could you imagine how the landscape of wrestling would be different now if for some reason they hadn't bet on themselves and they would have said, hey, NXT, look at all these hot stars that are there. Look at all the eyes that are on this product. They're offering us a buttload of money. Wouldn't it be great to go there and like work for this guy who's cultivating these young talents? Like, man, wouldn't that be fun? Can you imagine how things would be different now if the Elite had gone to NXT?
Oh my god.
They almost did. Hangman actually had a contract with NXT. Like, he was on his way to NXT, and that's, I think, the point that they went to him and they were like, listen, man, like, we can't go too in depth, but we got this thing perfect. It's gonna be big, and we want you to be like one of the crown jewels. So just trust us. Work Raw, work New Japan, and we'll make sure that you're on the ground floor of this.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, if that's the case, then there's no AEW. If that's the case, I think New Japan continues to have a higher profile in America than they do now, because now a lot of that is because of the pandemic too. So it's a little of A, a little of B. But like losing Kenny Omega, Hangman Page, the Young Bucks all at the same time when they're trying to make this big Americanization push didn't help. And then like if you don't have AEW, there's no one to NXT to fail against. So I think that NXT might become more successful, or at least as successful, and Triple H just rides it out until the old man dies. That's my 2 cents.
That's the optimistic approach that I didn't even think of. Because my first thought was everything transpires in WWE as it already has, and these guys go up to the main roster like previous NXT talents are wont to do and just get pooped on, just obliterated, fed to Randy Orton, fed to Drew McIntyre, fed to Sheamus, fed to all these guys. And I see them winding up like Finn Balor, like Vince McMahon calling these guys up and going, nope, I don't see it. I can't do it. I don't see it. Like you're not the like we're gonna turn you into a joke now. I'm gonna try and be a little bit positive here. I'm gonna try. I don't think that it is
how do I put this? I don't think it's something that Vince McMahon honestly does as 100%. I'm sure he does it a lot of the times, but 100% maliciously. I think a lot of the times it's just, this'll sell. And he thinks he knows best, and he's a senile old motherfucker that is a motherfucker. Like, I don't know any other way to put it. Like,
I think you're right.
I do. I think honestly, a lot of the times he does it with his own personal best intentions, but I hear there's a road to a very warm place paved with those sumbitches. Like, you know,
Boys,
I think you have it.
Yeah.
I hate to curtail a good discussion, but we do have a Stump the Champs that I know we're trying to get to on this episode, and we can certainly circle back to some of this on the next if you'd like to move on and come back to it.
Yeah, because
let's do that.
Depressing.
Agreed.
I need some positivity. I need a good win with my fellow champions here.
Yeah, let's shift from depressing each other to depressing Pat.
Exactly.
Right. That's what we do best here is depress our own listener.
Yes.
So here's the question. Since WrestleMania 20, aka WrestleMania XX, who are the 3 wrestlers to main event WrestleMania without ever winning a Royal Rumble?
Oh, Beef, you should have this one.
All right, so let's define main event.
Wait. Since when? Since which WrestleMania?
WrestleMania 20.
Okay, well, one of them right now, I can tell you right off the top of my head, is Daniel Bryan, because he's never won the Royal Rumble at all, and he main evented.
Now,
so there's one.
Correct me if I'm wrong, and I could be insane. Miz?
The Miz was the champion going into that.
Miz has won a Rumble before, hasn't he?
Oh, no.
I think he's talking about, like, it's phrased weird, but Miz, first of all, Miz hasn't won a Royal Rumble, but I think he's saying who main evented the WrestleMania without winning the Royal Rumble. I think is what he's getting at here.
How many did he give a number of how many there are?
Three. Now, I have issue with the word main event. Because
does he mean last match?
Exactly, or does he mean a title match? Because those are two different things. But WWE views them as the same thing. So I think that this is a gray area question at best. But yes, Daniel Bryan is certainly one. He main evented, like he closed the show at WrestleMania. He did not win the preceding Royal Rumble. Therefore, I think he is a definite, like a lock in this. Others include WrestleMania 24. John Cena won that Royal Rumble, but Triple H. It was the WWE title match that year was John Cena, Triple H, and Randy Orton. So Triple H would be in there as well, but that was not the final match on the card. That was buried in the middle of the card.
Can we send Pat a PM real quick and be like, Pat, be more specific? Like, are you talking main event, last match?
Try. Just keep talking. I'll send him something.
Okay, so
hold on. Before we get too far into the weeds here, until we either A, get clarification or don't get clarification, let's assume that main event constitutes last match.
Okay, so the one that Daniel Bryan was in, that was the last match, was it not?
That is correct.
Okay. Would another one be Seth Rollins? Because the heist.
Well. Are we counting?
Man,
are we counting the cash-ins?
I would. It was the last match of the night. That's what closed out the show. Was him swinging the title around? Was it not?
Well, yeah.
That was the last match
heist
of the
century. Yeah.
The heist of the century. Has Brock Lesnar ever won a Royal Rumble?
Yes. but not recently.
Okay, well,
Actually,
but I'm saying, well,
I think he did win one. Did he win one recently? No, it was just the one that back in
Yeah, it was the one where he ran a long thing until Drew McIntyre came in and kicked the soul out of his face.
Yeah.
Did Ronda Rousey main event the WrestleMania she was in?
The women's rumbles.
because she didn't win the Rumble. She came out after Asuka won,
Yep.
did the dumb, stupid finger point to the sign,
Yeah.
and then was in a women's title match. Now, was that title match the last
Yes.
match on the card?
Yes, that was
Yeah,
WrestleMania
it was. 'Cause
35.
that closed that one out.
The belt for belt.
What?
Yep.
What? I'm sorry. The question again was it somebody that went on to main event and win?
It just said main event, right?
Since WrestleMania 20, who are the 3 wrestlers to main event WrestleMania without ever winning a Royal Rumble?
Okay, got it.
And again, I think he's saying specifically without winning the preceding Royal Rumble. I think this is.
That would be a good assumption.
Well, yeah.
Now,
That's
given that, and given the way that we are thinking, I think that we got him. I think it's Bryan, Rollins, and
Ronda.
Well, unless was there anybody else though? Because
Well,
if we
let's see
don't think
here.
that Rollins counted because he technically cashed in, he wasn't
20,
billed as
hold
part
on.
of that.
Strap in. 20 was Benoit, Triple H, HBK. 21 was Triple H, Batista. 22 was Triple H, Cena. 23, this is where I get murky, I think was Batista, Undertaker, and also Cena versus, I think, Big Show and HBK. 24 was Undertaker, Edge. 25 was I don't remember 25. 25 may have been Taker, Batista. I may have been a couple years too early on it.
Was the
No,
was the
25 was Taker HBK match. Sorry, go ahead.
was
What?
one of the main events the no, that wouldn't I can't remember. Was one of the main events the Triple H versus Undertaker where HBK refereed?
That wasn't
I
a
can't
main
remember
event.
if that okay.
That didn't close the show.
Okay.
25 is a question mark. I think it was Batista or Batista Undertaker. Oh no, fuck. But Undertaker faced Michaels that year, so it would have been maybe Cena, Batista, 25. Put a pin in that. 26 was
which WrestleMania are we
Jericho?
coming up on right now?
This is 37. 37.
Okay, so
26, I think, was Jericho versus Edge, but I don't think that was the main event. So it would have been the other title.
okay,
Which
I had to make sure.
Orton
25
thing.
wasn't 25 Triple H and Orton?
Probably. Sounds about right. Sounds about the right time frame.
I was gonna say yeah, because 24 was definitely I was
Taker Edge.
I was making sure that you had that one right because I know like I was trying to figure out like okay that was 2009, this is 2022. I was doing math in my head and
So
like
put a pin in 26. I think you're right, Ransom, on 25. Put a pin in 26. I'll circle back around to it. 27 was Miz Cena, which I don't think had because that was Edge's quote unquote last match versus Del Rio, and Del Rio won the biggest Royal Rumble ever. 28 was Once in a Lifetime, I think, which would have been Cena Rock, which again wasn't a Royal Rumble thing. 29 was Twice in a Lifetime, which had nothing to do with the title, I don't think. But regardless,
no, Cena got the title back. That was the one where Brock tore his
right.
abdominal muscles, but that wasn't because of a Royal Rumble.
30 was Bryan. 31 was the Heist of the Century. 32.
Yeah.
What was 32? 32 was New Orleans.
Was CM Punk Rock one of the last matches?
No, that was a Royal Rumble. That didn't take place at a WrestleMania.
Okay.
32. 32.
That wasn't a Royal Rumble. Anyways.
It didn't happen at WrestleMania is my point.
Right.
The fuck was it 32? I don't remember 32. 33 was the one in Orlando with the fucking roller coaster. Oh boy. That was Wyatt and Orton. I think Orton won the Royal Rumble that year, so that wasn't in the main event. 34 was another New Orleans one, I think. 32 was not New Orleans. 32 was Dallas. Oh God. 34 was in New Orleans. I don't remember who main evented that.
I'm sorry,
35
I'm not.
was no, you're good.
I'm sorry, I'm not being much help on this, dudes. I'm kind of lost on this one.
I honestly think we got it because 35 was Rollins versus Lesnar, and
Again, unless he's not counting
Undertaker?
Rollins because he wasn't originally in that match.
No, I mean 35 was like the actual like the Rollins Lesnar match that opened up the night. That was the same year that Rollins and Becky both won the Royal Rumble.
He wants to know if we need him to jump on and clarify. He's asking in the Discord.
He could just text us.
Sure, I'll just sure.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Yeah, we just need to know, are you talking about closing match or not?
A rare live appearance from the person that actually sends us our questions. So again, we do have an email where you can send these questions to. Beef, what is that while we're waiting on Pat to get here?
pittsburghpiledriverpodcast @gmail.com.
2 emails, one with a question, one with an answer. In your answer email, make sure you put a couple lines of text so your answer doesn't appear in the preview pane when Beef opens up the emails. Because if it does, disqualified.
And we mean and we also like be very, very clear and concise with this, because we don't want things to be lost or lost in translation or open to interpretation. So with this question here,
regardless of the thing we got, just going through the WrestleManias, I'm fairly certain that the 3 that we got are the right ones, which is Bryan, Rousey, and
Rollins.
I
feel glad that I was able to contribute. P3 says with further research, they were all end of the show title matches. Okay.
Yes. Then I will 100% say we got it in Bryan, Rollins, and Rousey.
That's pretty reasonable.
Now I want to make sure of this. So, who are the most recent Rumble winners? Edge was last year's.
Yeah.
Which
but
is
he
still
went on to main
kind of
event.
silly.
Yeah.
Bianca Belair won last year too.
Right.
And she beat Sasha.
And
was that night 1?
That was night 1. She main evented. Yeah.
See, whenever they start splitting into 2-night events, that's when everything gets a little fucky.
Well, we've only had there's only been
last year was the first one. Was
last year the first one?
No, it wasn't, because the COVID split into 2 as well.
Well, yeah, okay.
Yeah, that was. All right, let's go with it.
All right.
Bryan, Rollins, and Rousey.
Yep. And gotta get back up now.
Still weary on Rollins. I don't know if he's counting that.
I think he should.
I don't know who else it would be. Like literally, I can't think of another like. Let me reread the question.
I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong. I just I don't know how he's thinking about it.
So if it was the other way, and so we're talking wrestlers that were in a main event title match, like a quote unquote main event title match without winning a Royal Rumble, then we have way more than 3. Like it would start at WrestleMania 24 with Edge, and then
oh yeah.
So
it has to be
Cena,
closing. Yeah.
Right. So like Cena.
This is closing. Yeah, closing show, like the end of the show match.
Right.
All right, let's do it. We got it. Let's do it.
That involves a Rumble winner scenario. Okay, here we go.
I say we go for it.
This one seemed hard at first, but I think the real Mr. WrestleMania people get this one. Thanks, Pat. I appreciate it. The Miz, Daniel Bryan, and Seth Rollins. So the Miz, I think Pat's wrong here, because when was the Miz involved with the main event of WrestleMania?
But that's when he won the belt from Cena or defended the belt.
Defended the belt.
Yeah.
He defended the belt. He
Yep.
didn't win the belt.
Yeah, but he defended the belt against Cena.
Well, regardless, I'm calling that a win for us because Pat said which 3 wrestlers. And we named 3 wrestlers that were involved in a main event that the Rumble had a bearing on. It may not have been the 3 he was thinking of. So technically there were 4, if that's the case. I mean, you guys do what you want with it, but I'm considering it a win because we got 3 that were involved in a main event match that the Rumble was involved with that, yeah.
Well, I mean,
Well, you know what?
So WrestleMania 27. Okay, so here's the thing.
So we've given our answer. Hold on. I know.
Stop, Tom.
Jesus
Stop for
Christ.
a minute. Let me finish my fucking thought here. He's crossing the streams here because WrestleMania 27, the Rumble winner was Alberto Del Rio against Edge in the opening match. The Miz versus Cena had nothing to do with the Royal Rumble. Right.
So there wouldn't have been a Royal Rumble winner in that match. Wasn't that his question?
Yeah, exactly. So, like, I don't know. At the very least, I say we throw it out because this is very open to interpretation. Because if we, even if we consider, wrestlers that main evented WrestleMania without winning a Royal Rumble, like, Seth Rollins has since won a Royal Rumble. So technically, it wasn't the Royal Rumble that he main evented, but he still won a Royal Rumble. So I mean, that's not the case either.
Which Rumble did he win?
The one prior to 35, where him and Brock Lesnar opened up.
Okay, but he didn't main event that WrestleMania. So it wouldn't matter. But he did main event before.
But what I'm saying is that, like, if you wanted to be super critical of the question, and like, because the question says without ever winning a Royal Rumble, technically Seth Rollins has won a Royal Rumble. So that's what I'm saying. Like, at the very least, we throw it out. I 100% believe that we can mark it up to a win here.
I don't know. I was confused by the question. Whatever.
Well.
Hey, you know what, Flash? You've given us a great topic of debate, but guess what, buddy? Beef makes the calls on this show. You got a problem?
Wow.
Tell me about it next week. But at this point, you are wrong, sir. You gave us an errant answer, and we gave you a correct answer out of your errant answer. So you know what, Pat? Once again, you lose, sir, and you get a name change.
You can't really say you get nothing because he's coming on the podcast next week.
Yeah,
true. I was going to say.
That's what I'm saying. He gets a name change.
All I was going to say before Beef...
He's 3.0.
Is he going to be the bastard back?
No, man. He's going to be the low card maniac.
I'm just going to say to have somebody, since we're sitting here fucking, kicking it around whether we are right or wrong, somebody just go look it up because the answer's out there. And okay.
That
was the thought that I was trying to get out before I was so rudely cut off.
That's what I was saying, Tom. He's crossing the streams here because he's referencing main events that have to do with Royal Rumbles. So, like, the Royal Rumble winner is associated with it.
Right.
But The Miz and John Cena, that match had nothing to do with the Royal Rumble at all. No implications with it whatsoever. The Royal Rumble winner that year was Alberto Del Rio.
The dusty finish. Nobody wins.
Nobody wins, baby. All right.
Hey, you know what? We can win. We can win. And what we're going to win is a burrito. So slap it on my plate, slide it in front of me. I'll pay you at the register. Let's have it.
All right, sounds good. Thank you very much to all of our sponsors. Casual Gaming Dad and his page, Casual Gaming Dad on Facebook. Make sure you follow him, watch all of his streams. Buy some merch from GouldGaming.com and search on Casual Gaming Dad. Also, make sure you subscribe to Frig Off Ransom over there on YouTube. He's hilarious, and he's such a sweet boy. He's a sweet boy. And we love him. And he's hilarious. Also, make sure that you thank Mr. Sean Tischler like we do every single week with his help with pro wrestling in the central Pennsylvania and the Pennsylvania area. Thank you very much, Sean.
Is anybody else hearing Poot robotic-y right now? Or
it doesn't matter because the recording doesn't matter. So if you're hearing me robotic, then that's just my shitty Clearfield internet. So get big, fuck Ed. Anyway, thank you all very much for listening to the podcast. Rude. And rude. And make sure to tune into the next episode. Until then, I am Poot the Bard, baby. That is Casual Gaming Dad, Mr. Tiger, Uppercut Bomb Tom. Over there is Ransom, our very own Freak Off Ransom, and Mr. Beef the Legend. Have a good night. I'll do a longer one next time.
It's not my name.
If there is a next time with his internet.